All right, hi everybody, and welcome to another edition of Ozzy and Keats. We're not great, we're just okay. John Keating here along Lake Michigan shoreline in Grand Haven. Ozzy at his home in suburban Detroit. Ozzy and Keats is brought to you by Meyer. Meyer brings more good to every game day, and by the Michigan Lottery for Fun for schools. And cheers to Ozzy with his Meyer Yeti mug there, and mine's right behind me there. So we're thrilled to have Meyer and the Michigan Lottery as sponsors of Ozzy and Keats as we continue with this foolishness. There is, as I learned this morning, there's a bug in Ozzy's house, not an actual bug, but a bit of an illness. And it brought to mind, did you ever have to play when you were under the weather, not because of something you did the night before, but because you were
No,
actually under the weather?
always. And to be honest, you always played your best when you were, and that was kind of maybe it's just
Why
your
is that?
mentality.
Why is that?
It's because you're just not even thinking about anything other than just going out there and playing, and you don't feel great, but you're just gonna battle and fight, and you'd end up feeling better after. Obviously, you went home, you're tired, but I remember you'd play, you wouldn't be feeling great, but and a lot of guys would, and we'd always and you go and play, and that we always said, geez, our best games are always when we're not feeling that great, and then we go into the sauna, and Chica, you remember Chica, God
Yeah,
bless him.
oh, beauty.
He
God
we
bless
go
his
in the
soul.
sauna, and he was a Russian trainer slash fix the equipment. He was a man of all trades.
Sergey,
He'd make
yeah.
a concoction, put it on the sauna, and mix it up in this old wooden bowl in the sauna that Chelly had made. And he had these leaves. He'd whip you with these leaves, and he put this. And you'd only been there, John, for like 2 minutes at a time, twice. And it was probably about 110 degrees in there. You'd be just everything would be coming out, and you'd be done afterwards. You'd be exhausted. Could barely drive home. You'd be so tired. The next day, you'd feel better. It was like a what do you call it? A natural remedy. He mixed in there with leaves and oils and everything else, and it would really smell. Everything would come out of your system, and then you'd be done. Next day, you wake up, you'd be great. You'd be great.
Did you say he whipped you with leaves?
Yeah, you had leaves that whipped, so it would open your pores, so you'd sweat everything out. Everything would come out. Yeah, it was that. Chica believed in that.
Yeah.
And when you had a sore throat, wine and honey. He loved wine and honey.
Wine and honey
Wine with honey in it.
for a
Yep.
sore throat.
Yeah.
And I would guess because of his success rate, perhaps, or just because you guys all bought in, no one
Yeah.
questioned these
No.
remedies that Chica had for the team.
No, and you wanted them. I mean, he had a way of doing things, and it worked. But that sauna thing was outstanding, and everybody's done it. Chris Draper would speak of it. Malpe could speak of it. A lot of guys. We always did that. The next day, I mean, like I said, you'd be driving home, not in great shape. You'd be exhausted, John. Like exhausted. You drink a lot of water. You sleep like a baby that night. Wake up the next day, ready to go again. Feel
Well,
100%.
and Chelio's always had his exercise
Yeah.
bikes in the sauna, right?
Drapes still rides. I'll call Drapes sometimes just to see how he's doing. I go, where are you? He goes, I'm in the sauna at the LCA, right on a sauna ride. He still does it, Drapes. But
Wow.
again, he's this younger version of Chuck Norris. He's still going.
You always called
And
him Chuck Norris, yeah.
yeah, yeah, and he still sauna rides. So does Chelly. I would do it when I was not playing and playing at the time, but an easy ride. But Drapes actually rides in there. Like Drapes is still. He's the living version still of Jack LaLanne.
Oh
So
my, yeah, another name from the past. Kids look up Jack LaLanne.
kids
You
look up.
won't believe what Jack LaLanne is all about. Were there instances where a bug was going through the room and it was a matter of time before everybody started feeling kind of cruddy?
Always, because you're on the plane, John, and one
And
guy gets
buses,
on the
yeah.
plane, but they take more precautions now. Like they'll have their own water bottles, like they'll actually wash the water bottles, switch them out. Back then, when I believe he starts, there's just like 10 water bottles on the bench. Everybody used whatever one, right? And then all of a sudden we had this great idea that we should all have our own water bottle. Well, no kidding. So, but then I think things would go around quicker. It seemed like there was less than there is now, though, for one reason or another. But it's not like you can't cancel the game, so you got to play. There's no other
Right.
players coming. You can't call up quick enough, so guys would have to play. And but Pete Van Zandt and Russ Bowman, who are trainers, they'd fill us up with vitamin C and give us a bunch of stuff. Guys would take cold tubs, that would help. too. I mean, I was never fun while you weren't feeling good, but you pretty much drank to feel better, and that's where you're at.
Tell me about, and I don't think I've ever done it, but tell me about stepping into a cold tub.
You'd never take a cold tub, like a
I,
cold plunge?
I don't. I mean, I've done it here at the lake, but I've never done
You should probably. Your liver's
something
right here. You
filled
should probably. I think I'm right. You should get up above the liver. Like, get your liver back. Give it a nice little cold plunge.
My liver would say, "What in the hell are you doing
And
to
then
us?"
the other one, we could dip your head in, like your brain in there.
Like I'm on Ross St. Brown, just upside
Yeah.
down to the headstand. Yeah.
Honestly, the cold plunge, and I do not like being cold. Although I am Canadian, where it's very cold where I'm from, up north. Um, Grew up playing street hockey, so you frostbitten toes and frostbitten fingers. You play all night, but the cold plunge, you feel a lot better. You should try it once. You feel better. I mean, you have them at a lot of the gyms around. There's one downtown at the LCA. They have one now. Drapes is always in there as well, but it's great for your legs, great for circulation. You should try it. It's good for your feet and ankles and everything.
I'm getting the sense that the only reason Chris Draper works for the Red Wings is to use the equipment that the Red Wings have.
Yeah, Drapes always gives you, and whenever you see Drapes, you haven't seen him for a while, he gives you the up and down to see what kind of shape you're in. Like, he gives you the eyeball test. And I'm like looking like, what? Like, I'm hoping for a passing grade. He goes, you look good. You look good. It's great. I'm like, I'm trying my best here. I'm 53. I'm trying.
And I can't let this pass. But
Yeah.
with the cold tub, give me a sense of shrinkage.
Well, you wear bike shorts.
So nobody knows. Is that?
Yeah,
is
you wear
that-
bike shorts with
yeah.
shorts over top is the key to it, right? You come under there with a nice, you've mentioned it before, the good camel toe. That's what happens.
Oh, jeez. Oh, come on. Oh my God.
But you should do it.
I wasn't going there.
Yeah, you can just go out in your lake there. Why don't you go in your lake?
I could. Yeah, I could.
the winter.
If I
Like,
wanted
just
to.
go up to like your thighs. Just try it.
Oh,
You're
my
gonna
God.
your ankles and
Oh, my
you'll feel
God.
great.
Oh,
I want
man.
you to go in the lake once. You got to promise me before the spring. Once you got to try it.
All right. Yeah. The beach
You'll
is
feel great.
filled with ice right now. I'm not sure I'll feel great, and I'll say bad things about you, but that would be like every other Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So
I always have my scenarios of your demise. It'd be he just went for a cold plunge. We never saw him again.
clutching his chest and nobody found
Clutching
him.
his chest.
We had to get the Coast Guard out here. They're dragging the lake to find him, and it's Ozzy's fault. And people would point to this podcast and say it was Chris Osgood. Chris Osgood killed John Keating. That's going to be what
I would
what
deny
happened.
even commenting on it. Even if I said it, I
Oh,
deny.
no, this is preserved for for all eternity now.
Forever.
So,
Forever.
Oh my God. All right. Questions for Ozzy are brought to you by Meijer. Meijer is your one-stop fan shop, from team-branded gear to tailgate essentials and snacks for watching from the couch. Meijer stores give fans everything they need to celebrate game day their way. We should have mentioned way off the top, a long time ago, we're going to have the great Nick Lidstrom on with us. Number 5, the former captain of the Wings, and won all those Norris trophies and 4 Stanley Cups. Nick Lidstrom is going to join us from Sweden on Ozzy and Keats coming up. All right, but here's the question for you, and it's not even a question. It's a long email, and I'll share this. This is from Chris Dykent. I apologize for the mispronunciation of your name. I grew up in West Bloomfield with Nick Polano down the street and Ray Lane behind us. We moved to Maryland when I was a teenager, but I stayed a diehard Red Wings fan. Between the St. Louis and New Jersey series, a friend and I stopped into the Post. The place was dead, so we wandered toward the back, and there was Ozzy shooting pool with a buddy from home in Canada. I was living in Texas at the time. We ended up talking for a while. As I was getting ready to leave, I told him he was my mom's all-time favorite Wing. Without hesitation, he signed a Red Dog beer sign to my mom, Kathy. She was absolutely thrilled when I gave it to her. She passed away 6 months ago. My sisters and I spent weeks cleaning the house. About a month ago, I was going through a chest, and that signed sign was sitting at the very bottom. I've got it now, and I'm having it framed. Ozzy was genuinely kind, says Chris.
Yes.
That was before you turned out to be the way you are with me. You were genuinely kind to people.
Yeah, I remember that's back when there's pool halls, right? You remember? And
Yeah, sure.
Well,
there still
go and play
are, but
pool.
yeah.
There still is, but not as much. But you put your money on the pool table, and you'd be up next. And Drapes and I like playing pool. And believe it or not, sometimes we just didn't go there to drink. We were fine. We'd have
Save
some,
it.
but we'd be
Save
fine.
it.
We like playing 9-ball, and we'd play whoever was there. We'd play fans. We'd play people. We actually liked playing it. We weren't very good at first, and then we got okay, but we were never as good as the best players. But enjoyed playing. It was at the back of the post, the little room. You had to move on the one side because your cue would hit the wall, so you had to go way up on the one side. So you never wanted to leave your white ball on the wall side because it was a harder shot because it had the elbow up. So you try and leave it on the other side. But and the pool table, it was never flat. It always had its little curves, and at the one end it would roll. So you'd have to know that. But I enjoyed those days just hanging out with whoever was there. And that's kind of how we grew up anyways. It was good.
That has to mean a lot to you, that and I'm sure there were 1,000 of those moments where you did something nice for somebody, and it didn't mean much to you at the time, but you now recognize how it meant to them or to their loved ones, right?
Yeah, it's cool stuff to know, you make a difference some small way or do something that's nice. But that was kind of just like who we were. I mean, I remember we do charity stuff, and there still is some stuff where you go to bars with bartend, but we'd bartend at these places or we hang out. And I remember just going out after games, and you're with the fans, and even some of the reporters would be there, and you'd be talking about hockey and talking about games. And it was much more relaxed back then than it is now, but it's harder now, obviously, because you got, your phones and everything else. But
right.
I mean, we loved to go in there and just hanging out with people. And if we make some little small difference, that means a lot.
Well, and I didn't have the career or the popularity that you did, but I did what I did, and it's one of the things as I began to step away from people who would come up to me and share with me that I took a picture with them, 10 years, 15, 20 years ago, and how much it meant to them that, that I did it, whether we got them on the set or whatever it was. And I mean, that's the kind of stuff that you like hearing as we step into, the next phase of life for each of us, I guess.
Yes, absolutely.
What were you going to say? What were you going to say? Go ahead.
Well, your next phase is
the next phase is the cold plunge, and
the cold
clutching
plunge,
my chest. Yeah, that's it.
And doing you spoke at Grand Valley, right?
Grand Valley. So I was the commencement speaker at the Grand Valley.
Well, I had my spies there. I got the videos.
I know.
I saw. I got, and I also got the.
Let me just phrase. I'm driving home from this event, which was at Van Andel Arena, and it was very nice to be back there. And there were 1,500 graduates getting their degrees, and the place was packed. But I get a text as I'm getting into my car, and it's from you on the West Coast, I guess, because somebody was recording on their phone me as the speaker. Yeah. So you had it and shared that with me.
These eyes are always on you.
There's no getting away from you. So, no, but that was very nice, and I haven't been that nervous in quite some time. It's different talking on the on TV when you really don't see people, but when you're speaking to an arena filled with people, that's different. Completely different. I'll share this with you that I was asked to be the commencement speaker in December, and it was very nice, and I felt honored to be asked by my alma mater to come back and be the speaker. My kids, who maybe have a bit of the same sort of sense of humor as I do, said, well, it's not really the commencement. The real commencement is in the spring. This is just for the kids that maybe we're trying to do it in the nerds who are trying to do it in 3.5 years, or the kids who needed extra time. So no, it was very nice, and
we all need extra
extra
time.
Yeah,
who doesn't need extra time?
I know.
Everybody needs extra time.
Everybody needs extra time. All right, one more question before we go to break, and before we bring in Nick Lidstrom. You have, speaking of the cold plunge and my demise, you have 1 year to live. How do you spend it?
I have 1 year to live.
You have 1 year to live. How do you spend it?
Like where or how? I would go. I mean, I've been in Michigan since I was 19
You probably
for
go
a long time.
back to Western
I go
Canada,
back
right?
home. I
Yeah,
go back
sure,
home. I
sure.
go back to Medicine Hat where I grew up. My mom lives there. My brother lives there. A lot of my old friends live there. A lot of family lives there. So I don't get back there nearly enough as I should. Maybe to my house in British Columbia. I got 1 year. That's what I would do. I would split
Yeah.
time between those two places in Canada and see. Oh, I have a lot of friends here, but I have a lot back there that I don't see as much as I would like on a maybe not even for a couple of years. I don't see them actually. So, and I would golf all the courses in my Medicine Hat that I grew up on, where I was 10, 11. My grandpa took me out on 'em, driving the golf cart. When I was 8, that's when he taught me how to golf. So I would go back to the old courses and golf them one more time each that I grew up on.
What's your lowest handicap season? What'd you get down to?
7.
Pretty
That
good.
was before I had kids.
That's pretty good.
It was hard for me to be a 7 though, because we'd have kids and Jenna was all over me every night. My legs were a little shaky on the course some mornings. So that back then she was frisky. Not so much now. So I'm joking. I'm joking.
Hello, Jenna, who's watching
Hi
this
Jenna, how
and
you doing?
shaking
Good
her
morning.
head.
So
What happened to
7, but
Ozzy and
that's
Jenna? Well, they split up after a podcast, and that was the end of them.
7
So
because I used to golf with Ken Holland has these great tournaments, these trips, and
yeah,
managers and guys from hockey would be on them, Bannon Dunes, and we go Scotland, Ireland. I used to love going, and now I have kids. I just didn't play as much, and I'm not as good. But I enjoy it again. I still golf. I golf the Cardinals sometimes, 9 holes with Max. But
in Plymouth.
I enjoy
Yep.
playing. I'm not nearly as good as I was, but I like to play. I'm more relaxed. Before, when you're a 7, Johnny, you're like or really good. It's almost like you're not having so much fun because your expectations are too
Right.
high. You make some
Right.
bad shots, slam a club, or you throw. I'm not playing, and in reality, you played really good. So there's no club throwing. There's not as much swearing. I enjoy it more, and every now and then I have round like I used to, but not a lot.
I played a little bit 1,000 years ago, but when I started working nights in TV, and I was gone a lot, I just couldn't do it around the kids, and so I gave up the game. And it wasn't, as I've said, it wasn't a hard divorce because it's a miserable game to anybody who's played it. And invariably, when I played it, you could scuffle and say the worst things for three
Oh
and a
yeah.
half hours, and then on the last hole, God steps in and God makes sure that you hit a great shot on the last hole, and that pulls you back in to come back and try it again, because it wipes away all the misery that you just endured.
It happens every time, every time. And then I used like I feel I find you're gonna be surprised by this. I find like I can't focus for 18 holes now. I'm like a 12-hole golfer. I'm a
Jeez.
9 because I figure if it's 9 or 12, if I'm really bad, it's over fast. But if I'm really good, it's also over fast because I can't hold on long enough. But now, evidently, they have Arcadia Bluffs, which is fantastic, has a 12-hole course now that you can play. So I'm looking forward to possibly going to do that once. That'd be cool. But I just don't
Yeah.
I can't keep my head around it for 18 holes like I used to be able to.
I've been told that I should pick it up again, and there's a great course, American
Well,
Dunes, which is about a mile away from where I sit right now, so we'll see. I guess we'll
my
see if
longest
that happens.
it's too long. My longest round ever was we used to do this up at training camp. Remember that Traverse City we had that tournament there, and it would be packed. We have to use 2 courses. I believe one was a Wolverine, the other one was that Jack Nicholas one, the Bear. Oh, I hated the Bear. It was hard, very hard. But in front of me was Gordie Howe with his group, John.
Oh
The
my gosh.
rest of the course was done their round, but Gordie, God bless him, it was awesome and a great. My group and his group, he'd be telling stories between every hole. Okay, with my group and his group, it took us forever to finish. He was telling us fighting stories. It was awesome. It was one of my best days in the course, away from the golf. So Gordie is telling us stories. I heard Jim Bedard was back at the hotel. He goes, "Where are you?" I go, "I'm still at the course. I got like 3 holes left still." He was just crying, go. Gordie's been legendary during this round, telling stories the entire time. So
Well, yeah,
imagine what a
and
thrill it was for those 8 guys that were with him. It was
absolutely, and Gordy had a connection to Traverse City
every
back in
yeah,
the day. He had a sports bar that was up there many years
yeah,
ago, and so I
cool
know
stuff.
he and Colleen spent part of the year up in Traverse City. They loved the folks up there. So, all right, let's take a break. And speaking of greatness, we're going to be joined by the great Nick Lidstrom. One of the greatest Red Wings ever, to be sure, certainly in the conversation with Gordie Howe. That's as Ozzy and Keats continues right after this from the Michigan Lottery.
Pull the tab, now the win. It's that simple with pull tabs from the Michigan Lottery. No scratching, no waiting, just pull and play. Get your pull tabs at your favorite bar or restaurant today. Knowing your limits is always the best bet. Cash Pop hits fast and pays big. Pick your number between 1 and 15. If it matches the winning number, you win. Easy as that. Play for up to $5,000 4 times an hour. Play Cash Pop at any Michigan Lottery retailer today. Knowing your limits is always the best bet.
All right, we continue on Ozzy and Keats, and the Ozzy and Keats interview is brought to you by the Michigan Lottery for Fun for Schools. And we're happy to be joined by one of the greatest Red Wings ever from his home in Sweden. There's been a bit of a time shift for those of us lunkheads still living in Michigan. The great Nicklas Lidstrom joins us. How are you, number 5? It's great to see you.
Great seeing you guys. I'm doing great. Yeah, all is well here in Sweden.
One of the things that I found out that I didn't know about you is that your first name is Eric.
That's
that
right.
right?
It's Eric Nicklas Lidstrom. Yeah.
And how did Nick come to be?
Eric is from my dad. My dad's name was Jan Eric, and they wanted to have Eric in the name. And sometimes in Sweden, they put that name ahead of what you want to be named, what you want to be called. So that's why it turned out to be Eric Nicklas. But I go by Nicklas or Nick. So. And I tell my mom that, why did the guys do that? Because every time I travel, if I go through an airport, they look at mine and it says, no, it's the
Sure.
wrong way. What's
Sure.
what's up with this? Unless I go to Detroit, then they know who I am when I land at the airport, which helps.
Nick, I'm jumping right to the hockey. Keats always likes to do that kind of stuff.
Uh,
But I'm going because I just saw it the other day. Your goal you scored against Vancouver was change of series. Were you trying to score in there or just put the puck on the net? Like, were you trying to bounce it?
No, I was shooting. Actually, I was shooting for a rebound. I was shooting low glove side because I think it was Brett Hull going down the right
Yeah.
side, and I was just trying to last minute of the period, try to get a low shot on the glove side for rebound kick out where he was coming down. So that's why I was aiming on that side too. So I wasn't trying to score. Of course, if you score, that's great. But I
Great.
was trying to shoot more for a rebound shot.
It's fascinating to me, who'd never played the game, how much you guys remember those little idiosyncrasies in particular plays in a particular game. Now, a lifetime ago, Ozzy, you can remember that too, right? I mean, how the puck went in or didn't go in on a particular play, what Nick might have done right in front of you.
100%. I mean, I knew one thing when I was playing, I gave Nick the puck. I shoot it away from a guy like Bob Rouse every now and then, making sure he wasn't able to handle it because we spoke him earlier. But I remember Scotty Bowman told me I was playing the puck lots in the power play. He goes, could you just give the damn puck to Nick? Always give the puck to Nick. That was my rule for the rest of my career playing with Nick. But Nick, tell us a little bit about your good buddy, Thomas Holmstrom. You guys had that those plays where you shoot pucks through, you tip, and you guys would practice. But how did that all come about? Like, that just didn't happen overnight.
No, as you know, Homer was great standing in front of the net, screening the goalies. He was always in the goalie's face. He wasn't off to the side just a little bit. He was always screening the goalie. And after practice, not just me, all the defense were lined up taking slap shots, and Homer's standing there tipping shots. And we actually became so good at it that Homer sometimes saw that I can't get the puck on net. The blocker is so good at being right in front. So I'm shooting on the side of the net, then he can read that and saw that the puck's going to come outside of the post, but I'm still can reach it and get a stick on it. So we practice a lot on it, but Homer always wanted the D to shoot. Whether if shots didn't come on the power plays, he was telling me in the locker room that, Nick, you got to shoot the puck. What's wrong with you? It's wide open. Keep shooting it. But he was so good at it. He was, if not the best, one of the best in the league is at screening the goal and getting pieces of the pucks all the time.
What about your shot off the backboards? Because I don't remember Larry Murphy had the Murphy flip. But you were one of the first guys to figure out the Joe that by the Zamboni gate, right? It was really bouncing. Like, when did you figure out that? Because I now I see a lot of people do it now, but they didn't do it until you started doing it. That bank shot up the backboards. When did you figure that out with Homer?
Well, I knew, when the blocker's coming out to block it, if I can't get it on net, if I shoot on my right side, it's gonna be going around the boards and out if my D partner can't get it. So
Yeah.
if I'm on the left point, if I shoot short side, it's gonna come out the front of the net for another chance. And at the Joe, as you know, right by the Zamboni entrance, there was a different kick to the boards.
Yeah.
It really kicked out. It's
Yeah.
so I knew that. I worked on that in practice. I took some shots in practice, knowing that it's gonna come out real quick and fast. So I think I even scored a couple of goals where puck came out that quick off the end boards, but it wasn't trying to score. It was more trying to get the puck in front of the net to create some havoc in front.
So I don't
wanna-
even know this either. Can I ask him this one last?
Yeah,
one more
yeah,
question?
go.
How-
It's
how
your,
did
it's
you-
your
because I don't
podcast.
know
I'm
if
just
you-
sitting here, Oz. You're running the show.
Yeah,
Go.
If I play with two guys, one, you and Chris Pronger were two best defensemen I put. I got a chance to put a lot of great defensemen, Rafalski, McInnes. But how did Nick Lidstrom become Nick Lidstrom? Like, when you were younger, were you the attention to detail player when you're playing minor hockey in Sweden, or like what did you do to become the player you were?
Well, I think when I first came over, I was looked upon as a very good offensive player, play
Yeah.
on the power play, move the puck, being be the offensive threat. And once I came over to the NHL, I realized I have to to play a lot. You have to
Yeah.
be able to defend too. So actually, Dave Lewis was one of the I think key coaches, defensive coaches that helped me. Louis was our assistant coach and defensive coach in Detroit, and he told me positioning is so important, especially against the bigger guys. You can't be out of position, and those are the things I worked on when I first came over. It took me a couple of years, but knowing how to play strong defensively without being a real physical player. I wasn't a physical player, but I learned that once I came over, how to play strong defensively, how to defend with a stick, and just being in the right spot.
That was one of the questions I wanted to get to. How you developed this sense of seeing the ice. Where did that come? Just from the ability to know where the puck is going, where you needed to be on a particular rush.
I think it came, hockey sense. I played other sports growing up. I played soccer. I played basketball. So I played other sports, and a lot just with your friends out in the street too, playing street hockey. So I think that's where you pick up all the learning the hockey sense, or the understanding the game, understanding the different plays, and turning into a hockey sense when you kind of anticipating plays, reading plays where the puck's going to go or where players wanted to go. And I think I learned that at the young age when I playing different sports.
Now it's important because I always say, like, there's John, unlike yourself, there's Federer makes it look easy. Like, Tom Brady made it look easy. Nick Lidstrom, when somebody asked me, I go, he made it look easy. But that's not easy to make it look easy. That's how good of a player you were. And we go to, so of all these great moments you had, what was your favorite moment, like greatest moment as a Red White? You can name a couple if you'd like, because there's so many, it's hard to pinpoint.
Winning the cups especially.
Yeah.
I remember the first one, we're up 3-0 against Philly, and we stayed at the hotel downtown, spending the night before, so everybody's get away from the families, being focused on hockey. But I remember driving to the rink before that game 4, and just feeling the atmosphere in town. You saw a lot of hockey fans, Red Wing jerseys out, and just realizing that something special is about to happen. And then you still got to go out and play the game, and it turned out to be a pretty close game when they scored late in the game. But that winning the cup there was the first one, was very special.
Yeah, I remember that game because Nick and Vernie was playing. He won the Conn Smythe. He played great, but we're up 3-0. I'm like, there is pressure to win this game because everybody's expecting it like tonight. And so it was like a different game away from the other 3 that we'd already won, because we didn't want to go back to Philadelphia. We wanted to edit, and the fans were you felt that pressure to win that night at home. So that was pretty cool. But what about you in 2008, first European captain to ever win a Stanley Cup? Was that a different feeling that year?
It was a different feeling because you're the captain. You're leading the team, and we had a lot of Europeans on the team, so
Yeah.
that itself made it special too, being the first European captain to hoist the cup. And even in that series too,
Oh,
it was a tight series against Pittsburgh.
oh,
And even though we won in Game 6, but we knew that here's our chance to win the cup. So, but that was kind of a different feeling because I was one of the older guys on the team. I was the captain, and maybe relied upon even more when you're the captain. So that the year was special as well.
Was it
And
assumed that
I
you were
remember
going to
I was
become?
just going to say,
Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
I remember the play at the very end too, when
oh,
Ozzy
yeah,
dove across and Hossa had the puck on his stick.
yeah.
And as soon as the puck left his stick, I saw it's not going to go in unless it hits you.
Yeah.
And it did. We went right across
I did a
right
good
across
job
the
of
goal
that
line.
at times. Thank God it
Yeah.
didn't finally. But I remember that play too, Nick, like slow motion. Like Pav had the puck, remember, in the offensive zone, and
Yeah.
he could have just stayed offside. The whistle would have went, and then he got tangled up with somebody. Drapes was on a line change. We didn't have a great change, and all of a sudden, of all the guys, Nick's back, and we have Hossa and Sidney Crosby. That was a 2-on-1. We
Yeah.
decided to give up
Yeah.
late. And we it wasn't like we were focused. Things just happened so fast, and all of a sudden he took a backhander, hit me in the arm. I remember you're looking at me like, what the? And then the puck just went far enough behind the post. I knew he couldn't score either, and it kind of sailed right by my eyes and right past.
Yeah.
the eye.
Yeah.
Dan clearly was in shock at what just had happened because it had happened so fast. He was just standing there. What just happened? I go, well, we just won. Thank
Yeah.
goodness. By this much. But it's never easy. Then the following
No.
year, that's why I wanted to ask you in 2009, because I was on the bench watching, and we were down by a goal, and we didn't have much energy. It's disappointing loss for us, obviously. But that chance you had, would you have done anything different on that shot, or no, or just a great save by Fleury? It was so ironic that it happened the next year, but at the other end of the rink. So
Right. Yeah. No, I remember the puck coming out, and I know that I forgot. Could have been Talbot that was diving with his stick on the ice, and I knew I had to get the puck up. If I shot it, along the ice, it's going to hit his stick. So I had to get it up.
yeah,
And I also knew that I got to shoot it right away. I got to
like
get a
fast,
one-timer off
time.
fast. Yeah. And I at the time I saw the open net, and then I looked down at the puck to shoot it because I was kind of fluttering a bit. So
Yeah.
I one-timed it, and when I look back, he's diving across, and it hit him right in the chest.
Yeah.
And my youngest son at the time, asked me after the game, "Dad, well, why did you shoot right at his chest?" I'm like, "Come on!" Not that I wasn't trying to score.
What were you thinking, Dad?
Yeah.
Yeah. The questions we
Well,
get
he-
asked by our kids all the time. What were you
Yeah.
thinking
Good
there?
thing-
Well, it's yeah.
Nick,
He was
Nick,
8
you're
at the
right.
time, so
If there would have been like a second or two more where you could have done more with it, but you just didn't have any time. It had to be a bang bang, or you would never have got it off. So that's
yeah, I think it was Talbot. His stick would have hit the puck. He was laying down, coming across as well on the ice with his stick. So I knew I had to get it off quick.
What did it mean to you to become the captain after Steve Yzerman retired?
It was a very proud moment, becoming a captain of the original 6 team, and especially following Stevie's footsteps. He was my captain for 15 years, so it meant a lot to me. And I looked at it as a challenge too. Late in my career, becoming a captain, and I knew my role was going to be a little bit different, being more in the coach's office, getting asked my opinion on different things. But I looked at it as a challenge, and something that I was very proud to be.
Because you were never a rah-rah guy, right? I mean, it was how you played that really was your leadership mostly, correct?
Yeah, I agree. No, I try to lead by example. It wasn't a very vocal guy in the room. We had other assistant captains or even informal leaders.
Draper was
Drapes
plenty
one of the
vocal.
great.
Yeah, dear God,
he
yeah.
was one of the great ones to get the guys going. So we had older guys that it didn't need a letter on their jersey to be a leader. But I was more of a lead by example, and say things at the right time, and not being that outspoken all the time.
absolutely, Nick. And I want to go because Sergey's getting his jersey retired. So that night for you, how, I don't want to say important would be the right word, but how big of a deal is that for you to be honored up in the rafters? I believe it was for the Red Wings. Is that tops for you, secondary to Stanley Cups?
Oh yeah, for sure it was. unbelievable honor. I've been, as you know, we've been on the ice stretching at the Joe so many times. You're laying down, looking up in the rafters to seeing all the banners up there, all the numbers. So it's very, very special moment. It's something I never even dreamed of coming to Detroit. I asked for number 9 when I got there, and they showed me number 9 is up in the rafters. You can't have that number.
Really, you were
So
number
see,
9 growing up in Sweden?
I was number 9. Yeah, I played
Oh.
last year in Sweden. I wore number 9, and I watched the Wings in the playoffs the year before I came over, and I saw there's no number 9 on the ice. If I can make it next year, maybe I can have number 9.
I love that.
And then one of the trainers, I forgot who it was, but I asked him, politely, if I ever make the team, do you think I can wear number 9? And he said, kid, come with me. And he went out on the bench and he pointed up at number 9, and ain't gonna happen. So I learned in a hurry, keep my mouth shut. And number 5 was actually handed to me. I didn't pick number 5. It was handed to me, which I was grateful for.
Well, and it's cool that no one will ever wear number 5 playing for the Red Wings again. But let's go back to your beginnings around that time where you wanted number 9. You're there for a couple of years, and then this baby-faced goalie Chris Osgood finds his way onto to the Red Wings roster. What were your initial impressions of him?
He must have been underage. He wasn't 18 yet, but it looked like he was
I
15
think I
when
was
he came in.
19 or something like that.
Were you? Yeah.
Yeah.
You were real young, but very talented. And back in that time, all the goalies weren't really big or tall the
No.
way you see them in today's game. They're all, Ozzy size, Vernie's size, Tim Shovelday, Vincent Riendo. No one's really big.
Darren
But
Pang.
Ozzy was yeah, Panger. he's down on the pole for that. But Ozzy was very, very calm, very quiet. It kind of,
Wait, he was quiet?
This
Chris
was in his
Osgood was
early days.
quiet?
This
Oh
was in
my
his early
God.
days,
Oh
John.
my
Yeah,
early
God.
days.
Okay. All
It's
right.
changed. It did change a lot.
Nick, who is your? I wanted to ask you this because you play with so many guys. Who's your? I don't want to say your top partners that you played with, like you used to really enjoy and meshed with real well.
Well, I played with Brad McCrimmon when I first
Yeah.
joined the Wings, and he was perfect fit for me. Stay-at-home defenseman. He kind of let me do my thing offensively, and he one of the things he said early on was if you got to go to work every day, you're a pro, and if you do it well, you can be a star. And it kind of stuck with me. I just go to work every day,
Cool.
put your hours in. Yeah. And then I played with Paul Coffey for a few years, and
Oh boy.
I was lefty, and when Koff came, he was lefty too. So we start talking, and he said, I'm taking the left side, just so you know. So I had to
Wow.
move over on the right side and
Wow.
kind of learn how to play the right side, which was good for my development because I had to kind of, it's a little different when you're on your offside, where being left-handed shot.
Well,
And
here's-
then Murph came. Larry Murphy
Yeah.
came, and he was another. He was another perfect fit. We were just good puck moving partners. We moving the puck back and forth. Scotty made the great idea of putting him and me against the Legion of Doom line with Lindros, Renberg, and Leclerc, and we just went back there, moved the puck, and got out of our own zone. So Murph was a great partner too.
So here's one of the questions I want to ask you, though. I mean,
Incredible.
and without mentioning a name, were there partners that you had where you said to yourself, "Oh man, I'm gonna have to have the puck on my stick a lot because the slug that I'm playing with or the teammate that I'm playing with might not be as good as I would like him to be." We'll leave it at that.
Well, I wouldn't call him a slug, but
No, a
you know,
slug.
Scott-
a slug was
Scott-
a slug was overstating it. That's. I apologize to all the slugs out there. That I didn't mean that. So
no. Well, one of my partners was when Scotty Bowman decided to put Matthew Dandino on defense. Dandy was the forward, and Scotty wanted to turn him into a defenseman, so he put him with me, which it took some time to get used to, especially for him. Not getting up in the rush, learning how to pick your spots, when to be offensively, how to play in your own zone. But it took a while. But I thought Dandy and I kind of found each other too after
Yeah.
a while. But it was some adjustment time when you're playing with a forward back there.
and could Sergei Fedorov have been a top flight NHL defenseman?
He could have been. Same thing. Scott had put him back on defense
Yeah.
too, and he mastered that too. but he had all the skill in the world, but he could skate the puck out of trouble. He had to pass it out. He could skate it by himself out of trouble. And he was a smart player. He knew what he could do with the puck, and playing defense didn't seem to bother him at all. But he wanted to be part of the offense. He wanted to join the rush and be up in the play.
Oh, he did. Nick, as great as you were, complete game, one of the best of all time, if not the best. Any guys that you would say that just gave you troubles, like defensively, were like, I got to defend this guy again today, or never?
Yeah, well, if facing up against the opponent's top lines most of the time,
Yeah.
Yager was a tough guy to play against.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
big, and he wanted you to kind of hit him, so he knew where he had you all the time. But he was so strong on the puck.
Oh,
Big behind, a big back, and
huge legs. Like
strong.
his legs were
Yeah,
huge.
and strong on his stick. So he was a guy that was hard to defend. Mario Lemieux was another guy that he didn't look too fast out there, but he could skate, but he could stick handle with the best of them. His
Yes.
skills were so good, and he was hard to defend. Today's game, Sidney Crosby's a great player. Still is a great player.
Yeah,
He's
it's unreal.
another guy that's so strong. His legs so strong, tough to knock him off the puck, and he can make those passes on his backhand or forehand. So he's another guy that's real tough to defend.
The Yager. That's good. That's awesome stuff, guys.
Yeah.
What are you doing with the? I know Drapes is with the work in Kronwall Malts. What's Nick Lidstrom doing with the Red Wings now? For the fans at home that would like to know how you're helping try to get back to a Stanley Cup here without playing.
I'm scouting. Yeah, I'm scouting here in Sweden. I'm looking at
Nice.
pro scouting, looking at players that had his chance to make it, maybe late bloomers in their early 20s or so. And then when I go over to Detroit, I try to be around the team. Todd McClellan wants me to sit in on meetings, talking to Trent Yanni on the defensive side and PK, and just being around the team when I'm in town. So I really enjoy what I'm doing, being part of hockey again, and being part of the organization as well.
You ever talk to Standin Pellikka? And what are your thoughts on him? He's very young, but I think he's gonna be a real good player.
Yeah, no, I followed him when he played here in Sweden the last couple of years before he joined the Wings, and he's a very smart player. So skilled with the puck, so smooth, walking the blue line. He's not the biggest guy out there, but he's learning how to defend. Learning how to be in the right spot and not getting beat out of the corners. So I think he's got a great, bright future for him.
What's your trophy room like there with the cups and the 7 Norris trophies and
7 Norris
the
trophies.
Conn Smythe, everything that you've won? What's that room like?
Well, I do have a bar downstairs, and that's where I keep my trophies. Nothing here on the main floor, so my wife can see all of it. It's kind of tucked in the basement.
That's a good move. Yeah, that's a good move. As a husband,
but she lets me go crazy down in the basement. So that's where that's where I have my some of my trophies.
Yeah, and the Stanley Cup rings are put away, and do you ever bring those out and show those off to friends?
I do. Every now and then, people want to see the rings and see the difference in all of them, and so I bring them out every now and then. Very seldom do I wear them, but I show them to people who wants to see them, and it's kind of fun to bring them out every now and then just to look at them and tell some stories about the different years.
Nobody can wear those rings, right? I mean, they're just they're so big, and bigger now than when you guys won yours, right? I mean, now they're so ostentatious. I mean, it's just it'll take up your whole hand. So I certainly get that.
Big.
Hey, thanks for your time. It's great to see you. I miss crossing paths with you. Ozzy will probably see you more regularly than I will, but perhaps on Sergei's night we'll get a chance to run into each other. You look great, and everybody in Detroit and Hockeytown loves you and misses you, and are glad that you're still a part of the Wings.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. I enjoyed joining you guys.
All right, the great Nick Lidstrom, and we'll continue in a moment on Ozzy and Keats.
Win up to $6 million playing instant games from Michigan Lottery. Over 100 thrilling options from $1 to $50. Instant adventure, any budget. They're instant fun for everyone. Knowing your limits is always the best bet. What do anniversaries, game day scores, and birthdays have in common? They could be your winning Michigan Lottery Daily 3 and 4 numbers. Turn your personal moments into a shot at cash. Go ahead, play favorites. Knowing your limits is always the best bet.
All right, we continue, and Meijer fuels the fandom that brings people together, whether it's powering your pregame feast, gearing up for the season, or supporting the teams that make our cities proud. Meijer make every moment of fandom even bigger, better, and more unforgettable. All right, how cool to have the great Nick Lidstrom join us and share the story of wanting number 9 when he came
Was
to
that
Detroit.
great?
Yeah.
And I never knew that story. I love when you and I, all the people we've interviewed now, the numbers are getting way up there, unbelievably, or believe it
Well,
or
how
not.
how do you feel about that? I mean, there are people, and this won't shock you,
Yeah.
that believe that number 30 should be in the rafters at Little Caesars Arena.
Detroit's tough. I mean, Detroit's, when I go to like Montreal, I've been to all the ranks team when I'm now doing TV. A lot of these teams will have retired. Detroit doesn't have a lot. I mean, that's hollowed ground. I mean, it's difficult. You got to be
Yeah.
the best of the best of the best, and you know that's the way it is. I mean, I like it that way, to be honest. And it's difficult to get there, and you think Sergei's going to go up there within 2-3 weeks or whenever he's going up there in January 12th, I believe, right?
Well,
So,
this as we record this, it'll be right around.
Yeah,
might have
great.
just happened. So,
So,
but yeah,
I mean,
but the New York Yankees have retired just a slew of numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, they've had some very good players whose numbers were retired. It's just like, okay, I mean, really nice career, but I'm not sure they're retire their number kind of careers but I mean, yours is right up there, 400 wins, and so we'll see. But yes, the fact that it's difficult to go up there, I think, is cool.
I'm looking.
Go ahead.
Maybe I'm thinking of possibly getting my FanDuel Blazer retired, put up to the rafters.
with a logo on it, like the
logo.
CBS, the CBS eye that those guys will still wear from.
Somebody told me, and I always amazed this because even you told me that you and I had worked together 10, 12 years. I can't believe it's that long ago already that I did it that long with you.
Yeah.
Only I've been doing it that long, so it's amazing how time flies. But Nick being up there, that's a no brainer, and played a lot of great players, but nobody made it look easier than him, and that's a huge compliment because it's not an easy game to play and be able to play at the level he did for that long. Yeah, seven Norris trophies. That's crazy.
Incredible. Yeah.
Great.
I mean, it was known by the Red Wings equipment manager, Paul Boyer, as Norris. That's what Boyer called him. He just called him Norris all the time because he won 7 of them. One story that you didn't get to that I thought you might get around to was you and he taking the Stanley Cup out west.
Yeah, we won in 2008, and about 3 days later, wasn't in the best of conditions from having a good time
Because of the
after.
weather. The weather was bad.
The weather was
what?
bad. It was
Yeah,
rainy.
okay.
It was
All right.
gloomy in Detroit, and we were to go out to LA with the Stanley Cup, Nick and I, and go on the Carson Daly. You had a show then. Take it to Mike Myers' movie, The Love Guru, which didn't really do much.
Oh my gosh.
Justin Timberlake was in that, and down the red carpet with that, and go on Jay Leno, which I'm like, oh, that would be cool. Go on Jay Leno, the Tonight Show. So we rehearsed. We get there, and we're on there.
I didn't know they rehearsed those shows. They rehearsed the Tonight Show.
Well, maybe for us, maybe.
Okay.
Like Justin Timberlake was there, and Nick's wife and Jenna. Jenna was only worried about where Justin Timberlake was, not so much about where I was. And we're sitting up there at Jay's desk, and he walked onto the stage, and Jenna's face turned red. I started singing, I'm Bringing Sexy Back. He thought it was pretty good. I said, yeah, it is. A little better than you. But we rehearsed.
My eyes.
Yeah, what we're going to do. And Jay Leno goes, can you dance? I'm like, no, I am not dancing on this stage on whatever you want to call it, national TV. So I can't dance. I'm Bringing Sexy Back. There's not a chance. So anyways, we rehearsed. We had this thing we're all going to do. Well, when the show starts and we go out there, totally different. Jay Leno went a whole different direction. And the guy is so darn good that he made Nick and I look good even when we weren't. So it's like you making me look good for 10 years.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But it was,
and that's why I look the way that I do, because I've been carrying you. I was carrying you and still am, I guess, on this thing.
It was
nerve-wracking
though, for sure. I mean, I don't get nervous a lot. For that one I was. It's a big difference, you know, when you're headed out there on stage and you got everything going on and the other guys up there and other people are there. You're back in the room there before all the food and you're in your room waiting to get on stage. So it was a lot of fun going out there.
How responsible was Nick Lidstrom for your 400 wins?
I'd have more if it wasn't for him. I mean, he had some slip up. I mean, we don't talk about that, you know, all the times I had to.
He was the imperfect human. Is that what you're suggesting?
He wasn't as perfect as everybody thinks he is, you know. I saw it from my level. I was on right there. No, Nick was a cerebral player. I always say that like Fred Couples would have the perfect golf swing. He makes it look easy back in the day. Federer glide across the tennis court and get side to side and look effortless and look like he's not tired. You know, certainly think of Tom Brady or even Peyton Manning, how they played quarterback, how they made it look easy, how they could see the field. Nick was the same way. Nick made it just look so easy. He was that good. And I always say there's certain guys that play at that level that see it different. I think Wayne Gretzky, you think of Mario Lemieux, Nick Lidstrom, Dominic Hasek as a goalie. Just see the game slower, see it different, and play it. Whenever somebody says, "Oh, they make it look easy," well, that means they're that good. That means they're another level above the already great players that play pro sports. They're the elite of the elite. So there's very few of those guys to ever come along.
See, you make podcasting seem easy.
I do. Well, you know, at the end of your TV career, you're struggling. You know, you didn't have quite your A game, so I
Didn't have my
made
A game.
it look easy for you. We had to do some, and I knew you're kind of falling apart. You know, you're at Grand Haven. There's a mini bar close to your recliner. I knew, there's gonna be days I really got to make it look easy for him.
Somebody help him. Somebody help Keats.
Somebody help him.
Yeah. All right. That's going to do it for this edition of Ozzy and Keats. We thank everybody for watching and listening. We thank our terrific sponsors, Meijer. They bring more to every game day and to the Michigan Lottery for fun, for schools. For Chris Osgood, I'm John Keating. Thanks for watching and listening. We'll see you next time, everybody.
Ozzy and Keats is produced by Zachary Davis and Bill McAllister and proudly distributed by Podcast Nation in Troy, Michigan.